A growing number of Gen Z Americans are living at home even after they graduate from college. According to a Business Insider report, parents are financially supporting their adult children well into their 20s in this tough economy. Only 16% of people between the ages of 18 to 24 say that they are completely financially independent. Many younger Americans are living at home as they grapple with high housing costs, heavy student debt, and inflation. But not all of their parents are happy about it. Eve Upton-Clark wrote that piece. She joins me now. She's a freelance features writer for Business Insider, covering culture and society. And Eve, I think that this is such a chattable topic because your article mentions that some parents have reported spending an average of $1,400 a month helping out their adult kids. I'm wondering how they're able to even afford it.
So most parents are happy to financially support their adult children, whether that's with tuition costs or helping with bills or rent. But then there is this element where we're seeing parents having to dip into their retirement savings in order to financially support their adult children, which is where there is a problem. Obviously, parents have less time to financially recover.
Yeah, that seems like a major problem. If they're dipping into their retirement to pay their grocery bills for kids that they thought would be launched and off on their own adulthood. Is the problem here tough economy? Is it a cultural shift to depending on parents longer, a result of a helicopter generation of children becoming adults?
Well, what we're seeing is almost this new life stage being created, which has been coined emerging adulthood, which describes those 18 to 29-year-olds who basically are experiencing these shifting life milestones. They're not getting married as young, they're not having children as young, they're not buying their first property as young, but they're also not achieving that financial independence. And their adulthood is looking so different from their parents' and their grandparents' generations.
Emerging adulthood. You know, when you think that like in our grandparents' generation, they were married in their 20s and have starting their own families. And here we have this group of emerging adults still very much dependent on their parents. I'm wondering how much this trend has changed. And we saw a lot of this happening, obviously, during the pandemic, where people were losing their jobs, couldn't pay their bills, and also just wanted the comforts of being at home. Have some of those people really started to move back out and are now on their own, or that changed society?
I mean, in the past decade, we've seen the number of parents supporting their adult children, it's doubled. So this has been a huge shift. And I think it's important to say that this isn't necessarily the problem or the fault of parents or their children. You know, these are young people that are graduating with huge student loan debts, who are experiencing rising housing costs, and then are going into jobs where their salaries aren't matching up with inflation. So for most of these young people, they might want to be financially independent, but they don't have the means or the stability to feel that they can go out on their own, or if they do, they're moving back home.
There's a question about whether this is a potentially dangerous cycle, that the parents are taking care of their emerging adult kids and dipping into their own retirement savings, and they won't have enough to sustain themselves when they're ready to retire, and then will have to depend on their kids. Is this a problem? At what point should parents cut the financial umbilical cord?
I think there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's going to look different for different families. I mean, from the parents I spoke to, some of them were more than happy to financially support their adult children for as long as it took for them to achieve that level of stability. But for others, there was a real concern about empowering their adult children and not enabling them. But I think most young people in their 20s don't necessarily want to be living at home with their parents and will be doing everything they can in order to move out as quickly as possible. So
count on that as the deciding factor. All right, Eve Upton-Clark, so great to have you on this topic.
Thank you.